In the dark there lies a tale, hey, with Joshua Joseph's voice. And beside him Viking storm stays, they speak with no choice. From the deep and blackened waters, where the secrets wail and cry, they pull back forgotten commerce, exposing murky lies. What you hear cannot be unseen, a saga from the waves. Conspiracies unravel in the dark, as depths become our graves. They talk of ghostly whispers and ancient treasures call, with theories wrapped in shadows, the waters deep and all. The oceans hide their secrets well, but not from this dark crew. Joshua and Viking storm, they seek, they find what's true. What you hear cannot be unseen, a saga from the waves. Conspiracies unravel in the dark, as depths become our graves. The oceans hide their secrets well, but not from this dark crew. Joshua and Viking storm, they seek, they find what's true. What you hear cannot be unseen, a saga from the waves. Conspiracies unravel in the dark, as depths become our graves. As depths become our graves.
What's up, you bunch of window-licking people? How are you doing? It is I, the voice, Joshua Joseph, here again with my friend and his friend, his other half, his young Jamie over there, Viking Storm and Luna, back again for some conspiracy talks, conspiracies at seas. That's what we call it. And we got Viking Storm and Luna with us. How are you two doing?
We're great. We're doing great.
Well, that's fantastic.
Great. It's been a good week.
Been a
long week, but God, yeah, Monday I had to do a double. It's been a long week.
It's been a long week for you. Well, it's been a long week.
Maiden.
Yeah, I was gonna say that the old maiden over there on the Viking SS. I don't know what you guys title.
I don't know.
Yeah, pirates do weird things, Vikings do weird things, but we're here to collectively do some weird things. And tonight, Viking Storm, we've been teasing this for a couple weeks since the last one. We're going into the JFK files, my friend. Looking actually pretty forward to this one. We all know there was a smashination that happened, and JFK is the main focal point of that, in which there was a lot of leaders of that time that were speaking out against some things that were possibly smashinated by our United States government.
Yeah, there was not only his, but others did happen as well, and they, there's a lot of hearsay and whatnot that it was connected to his and that others were, and because it was all a lineup. And yeah, well, long story short, we all have our opinion of who did it, and we all know that. Well, I'll just say it definitely was orchestrated by some three-letter agencies, and they may have had help with a certain crime organization that definitely had something to do with the government at the time.
No, I wouldn't know anything about that. Now would I?
No, not at
No,
all.
no, 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 none at all. Well, before we get into it, I would like to ask you though, what has been your favorite? And I know it's kind of like a dark, disturbing way to
Mm.
phrase this, but what has been your favorite assassination that has happened? At least the one that kind of intrigues you to look into more, maybe kind of
Oh, I
sent you
mean,
down a path.
as kids, we were all. I don't know a person that wasn't forced to learn about Abraham Lincoln, of course. I don't know a single one that wasn't,
Very
that was
true.
in all of our history books. It was in everybody's to this day,
Everybody's, yeah.
you know? And we all know Booth had just a grudge against Lincoln, and that was basically it. And he was just a little pissed off bitch, is all he was, and just psychotic. He just had a grudge against Lincoln, is the reason why he killed him.
Yeah, very true.
He just didn't like Lincoln. He's like, fuck it, I don't like you enough. I'm gonna kill you. That's literally what he did.
Well, I mean, he was tall, and tall
Yeah.
people piss me off too.
But I mean, favorite assassination? God, I mean, his is pretty interesting. I mean, the most famous assassination, it sparked World War One. So, I mean, Ferdinand is, that's what sparked World War One. That was interesting to learn about. I don't know about favorite assassination really. I've never really thought about that. That is a very morbid thing to think about.
I know,
I
I know
mean,
it is.
I mean, I just say favorite couldn't possibly be the most recent one that got very, very famous from a certain CEO. I mean, that couldn't be my favorite at all. That really, we all are. Nobody hates the person that did it at all. Everybody more or less
Can
celebrated it. So,
can you give me 5 minutes on that subject?
you want to talk about for 5 minutes? You have something on it, or what?
Yeah, I would like to maybe change your perspective on it in
I
5 minutes.
Please do. I mean, I love the facts about the weapon that was used. Okay,
Hmm.
is how much that was messed up, and people think it was this and that. No, I mean, I can tell you why what he used jammed even. I know
Yeah.
why. I know exactly why. Because the suppressor he 3D printed is what jammed it,
Hmm.
and nobody
Yeah.
really knows that. It is a ghost gun, but yeah, what was produced is the reason why it jammed is because it didn't have that spacer to make it airflow for the shell to eject. That's why it jammed each time you took a shot.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's a common
And
thing talked about in the 3D printing
yeah, and
world.
people think it's that one World War II integral suppressed pistol that you do
Yeah.
that little pullback thing and churn. And if you played Sniper Elite, you would know this gun. Everybody knows this gun from Sniper Elite. It's the starting pistol that they give you in the game, and it does that weird churn thing when you reload it. It's a weird locking screw mechanism. It's really an odd gun, but that's what everybody thinks he used. Even like what was it? That one guy that was all adamant that he used it was all about it. He's some, I think it was a police chief or something. I can't remember. There was a whole thing about it, but they were
Yeah.
all just dead wrong, and that's not what he used.
Well, let me kind of steer you down my lane of thinking with this.
Please,
Yeah.
I've been waiting to actually ask you about this.
Yeah. Well, there's been quite a bit of things that have happened with this specific subject in the
Because
past
I mean, it
week.
is our most recent, biggest like
Yeah,
conspiracy
it
thing
is.
type thing. It really is in the world. I mean, it's the biggest real world event that had happen recently.
So let me ask you, if I propose this idea, um, I need you to just hear what I'm saying
Mm-hmm.
and then take it in. And then, maybe not right away give me an answer. Maybe you have to wait
Gotcha.
a little bit, but this is my line of thinking with it. Yes, is the romanticism of a vigilante coming out and standing up for us, for the insurance companies, especially in the health industry, coming and basically screwing us. I mean, if you think about it, we pay all this money each week out of our paychecks for something we may not use or we might have to use. But if we do not use it at the end, there is no benefit of it. It's just money that is filtered in. in which if you work in that industry, healthy people don't get you money. That's not a thing. Like, you have to have some ailment to go to the doctor. You don't go to the doctor and you're like, hey man, just wanted you to know this past 3 months I've been healthy. That's not the reality of it. But say something happens, you are denied, even after years of paying into insurance. And it's something that you can't control because it's a pre-existing condition that you may not even known that you had. And then you're instantly hit up with all these bills that are going to just engulf you. I understand that. That is horrible. That just devastates so many
Oh
people
yeah,
and
it's
ruins so
horrible.
many people. But let me pose this question to you. What if that same CEO was about to, in the next few weeks before his death, what if he was going to go and be a key witness in the fact that there's a lot of insider trading going on? And what if I were to tell you that a certain person who only makes $150,000 a year for her said seat in our government, she is a multi-millionaire, and she also broke her hip over in another country right now. Now, let's say if that person was their main focal in this court case that was coming up. Wouldn't it be easy because of the people who support you, the people who vote for you, who are radicals, um, to be swayed to go after the CEO of a company because they think they know that that CEO is making the determination? Now, from my understanding, these companies, these insurance companies, these medical fields, anybody who deals with money, they have to go through laws. There has to be certain things passed for them to be able to maybe get a tax break here because they did something there. So if you wouldn't want anybody noticing what's happening with you and how you're making your money, to get a bunch of people out there yelling about how these corporations are screwing us over and then radicalizing them, because I believe it was 3 months before this happened, he was MIA. Nobody knew where he was. Much like the Trump shooter, he became radicalized. And I think people are missing this idea, this segment, this portion of the story, because it plays on our emotions. Yes, is it amazing that somebody finally stood up for the average Joe, the average guy in his basement on a microphone right now? Yes, that is amazing. But when you peel it back and you look at everything going on, there's a chance you're just a pawn in a game of chess. And the people at the top are giggling at us. They're literally pissing on us. And yet, you also have to think about the fact that he was charged with a terroristic act. Now, from my understanding, once you're charged with that, a lot of your freedoms are gone. So your ability to speak are gone, because then you could engage in saying something that alerts somebody that you have helped radicalize and get your message out there, and then more destruction has happened. Now, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying I've looked into some things, I've seen some things. I looked a little further than what we're being told in our mainstream, and those are the things that I'm noticing. So, yes, do I say Luigi did something that was supposed to be beneficial for all of us? Yes, in the way it looked. But in reality, all you're making is more jokers, and there's nobody. Look at Daniel Penny. Daniel Penny saved an entire subway car full of people who were traumatized. They were in fear of their life, and he saved them, and he has been demonized. Now nobody wants to be the Daniel Penny. So then what do we get? We get a woman that was set on fire by, yes, no other than a illegal person in this country who had been deported before. Now, when do we wake up? When do we find that moment where we go, something else is happening here? We have to pause all the stuff that is harming people. We have to pause it. It just has to happen. But that's my whole thing with the whole Luigi thing. So I know everybody has their own view on it, and I'm more than welcome to listen to a view and hear a person's point of view on it. But we also have to recognize that they're not telling us everything.
Oh yeah. I mean,
So
it's all these things. They're always not telling us everything. Like we can go back a long ways over the last few years. Like one of my main ones is Anthony Bourdain, of course, and Chester. Those are my two main ones there because if you look back with the whole Epstein thing and the whole Oprah and the secrets behind everything that we've talked about before, we know they're kind of the start of it, actually. I mean, you could actually go back further to Mel Gibson way back in the 90s during an interview that said there's some things that he's seen in inner circles that he's not a part of for a reason. And he's kind of told to be hush hush and everything. We all know these secrets exist with what we said about the Monsters Inc. thing last time, which, by the way, I want to point out was my very own Skeletor when until I see you again moment. And I realized that the other day.
Yeah.
I realized I made that meme a real thing accidentally. And when I told Luna that, she was laughing her ass off at me, like, oh shit, you did.
Yeah.
I completely did that last time, and that was an accident. But it's true. Once you think about it, funny enough, there's a movie that's out called the Supplement or something like that. That's a bit close to that story because it's with Demi Moore and I can't remember his other name. Another actor in there. It's all about they take a shot that makes them younger. And that's very close. It's a certain chemical they take that makes them younger, which is very close to that adrenal gland thing to me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, is this literally just like a parody, like a spoof? Like they're trying to tell us something with this movie? Like, I'm not going too conspiracy with it, but it reminded me of it completely when I seen it the other day in a post on something. I don't remember it. I was like, oh, this is totally similar to that. It's a new horror movie that it's based.
Well,
it's called a horror movie, but that's what I was getting from this.
I wouldn't say that you're digging too deep, too conspiratorial in it. You have to always remember, and this is through a lot of them that practice. It's not. I'm not going to call it witchcraft because it's not. It's a specific type of human magic.
Mm-hmm.
And I know this stuff sounds crazy. I totally get that. But we have capabilities in us that have been dulled through the years. And they've been dulled for reasons because you wouldn't need the people at the top if you could do these things alone. I mean, in reality, electricity comes from the ground, my friend. So you can get that. You can like get a way to get it out and have it. Like there's ways to pull in electricity. Tesla talked about it. There was multiple other people who've talked about it. There's guys who talk about it today and build their own things. I mean, look at the guys who come up with the engines that run on just water. I mean, that's insane.
I mean, they're not alive anymore because, certain agencies don't like them being here, but yeah.
Yeah, and there's a very very popular one that is going on right now. The most recent one, the older gentleman did get to like within weeks of actually having his patent for it, and then, well, something happened to him. And just like
the most recent one, yeah, I seen that.
Yeah, and you talked about Anthony Bourdain, in which if you look into his relationship, the woman he was with, she's a part of a lot of that stuff. And I do believe that he figured it out and things happened to him. And I mean, you go into Isaac Cappy. Isaac Cappy was said to have thrown himself off a bridge. There's a video out there you can watch of a man shooting Isaac Cappy 6 times in the chest and then pushing him off the bridge. And these were people who were in the field of what we're talking about, and they were trying to say things. Chester Bennington, he was in the works with who was Chris Cornell and There was Chester Bennington, Chris Cornell, Jackie Walorski. They were all in the process of filming these atrocities of human trafficking, and then all of a sudden they're
See,
no
now
longer.
that I did not know. I had no clue about Chris Cornell. I didn't look into that about his death.
Yeah.
I had no clue. So you're saying that he and because you look at Chris Cornell and his whole thing was it looked like a freak accident thing, like because what was it that he was said to die from again specifically? It was something very specific and odd.
I will have to pull that up for
Luna
exact.
can pull that up.
Yeah, Chris Cornell's actual cause of death. And just chime in whenever you get that, Luna. But yeah, Chris Cornell was said to be linked with Bennington. And if you even look into it, there's some people out there who are dead set that Chester Bennington and John Podesta, that's his actual dad. And if you look into who Podesta is, oh my gosh, that is a hole we are not trying to get into tonight.
Oh God. Some other time then. Maybe next time.
Oh,
But,
no, he will be on our Epstein episode.
Oh, okay. Gotcha then.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, because I remember Chris Cornell just released that Heavy is the Crown album and did that song with Zach Brown, and then that was just literally just kicked off. That album did.
Yeah.
And then he passed away.
Yeah.
You're good. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, hon.
Yeah.
Okay. So at first they thought that Chris Cornell overdosed on drugs. But they actually said it was suicide. I should have said the word, sorry.
No, you're fine.
That's pretty much all that it said there. He was taking anti-opioid drugs. Also, that's really all I can see. So they did actually rule it a
suicide.
Yeah.
Now, Luna, when you look these things up, can I ask what search engine do you use? So we can just be completely clear with the audience.
Opera.
Okay. See, I run through DuckDuckGo. That's who I use. Honestly, I don't even know if there's any actually like benefit to using these things anymore, the different search engines, because they're all getting paid by people. So it's like whatever. Yeah. So Detroit, Michigan, as they said where it was at. And that's going off the just like the AI breakdown of it. He had several prescription medications in his system at the time, although they were not deemed to have contributed to his death. See, that's interesting. All right. Oh, it was a hanging. He hung himself.
They tried to say Chris hung himself?
Yeah. That's where I got into people.
I heard that partially mixed in, but I didn't believe that part.
People.com. That's what's in their report. Suicide by hanging, which I don't know. There's many of the list of the Clintons associates who have hung themselves, but they had bullet holes in them. So I don't know. The world's a weird entity in itself. And hopefully we can show. Okay. I'm seeing what Luna typed into the chat. Okay. Test showed that presence of, was that lorazepam, better known as Ativan. Okay. In Cornell's system, along with barbiturates and anti-opioid drug. But they're saying that see, and then people reported that is not what contributed to it. But anyways, we'll get back onto a different Chris Cornell is going to come up in a lot of our discussions in the future.
I did not know that Chris Cornell was like and link to any of that at all. I had no clue. I did
You
not know whatsoever.
check into Chris Cornell and his actual like charity works and stuff that he was actually trying to do. That wasn't like associated with his band. You know what I mean? Like the charity work he was doing on his own. But we're going to jump into now some of the JFK discussion. This is what I brought you all here for. Now we're going to get into it. That's, you know what, that's going to be the pretty much the window lickers MO. Anytime you come on to a show that I'm doing, you're almost guaranteed at least the first 10 to 15 minutes, me and who's ever with me are going to go on a whole different rant before we even get to the main subject. So hopefully people enjoy it. And if not, well, you know, get your own show and do your own thing. That's how you solve that issue there. But we're going to jump into it. And like I was talking to Luna and you, Viking, before we jumped on, I definitely follow a lot of this, a lot of people talking about their different theories, but my main focus goes towards the Oliver Stone theory on the JFK assassination, in which I'll start off the show with this. Have you guys, either one of you, have you seen this specific film?
No, we have not. I've seen it
No.
pop up, I think, on maybe Hulu or something, or maybe Peacock before. I've always thought about watching it, but I've never watched the movie yet.
Yeah, and it's a great movie. Like
we might watch it tonight.
It goes into a lot of in depth of who these people were and what they were doing at that time that it happened, and the setup for it. What your idea of what could have pushed a person into doing this, and like you talked about at the beginning of this, you know, with JFK himself, it is well documented that the mob got him elected, and then once he was elected and became president, he turned on the mob, which, you know,
isn't smart.
No, I wouldn't say that was smart. And Luna, if you can check this up, can you let us know, was Bobby Kennedy, was he the lawyer for them, or was it Kennedy? One of them was a lawyer for him. They were doing some type of things for the mafia. And I know,
second, Joseph, you have to repeat that. She wasn't in the room for a second because we heard something fall and we didn't know what it was. She was just checking on it. We thought it was the cat for a second doing something stupid, but repeat that again for Luna. She didn't hear it.
Hey, Luna, can you check up? Was it Bobby? Was it one of the Kennedy brothers, or was it JFK himself, who was some type of lawyer or advocate for the mob when they got in trouble? Something like, I believe I remember something of that nature.
I thought one of them was one of the brothers, or JFK was himself a lawyer for them for defense thing.
Yeah. And while Luna's looking that up, so we're going to just dive into this portion of it. So the assassination of JFK, it was on November 22nd in 1963. The Warren Commission's report concluded Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. So that's where we are with just the broad basis of it all.
Of it, yeah.
And where you could actually go into with that. So without you seeing this movie, it's more of like a documentary style movie. You know what I mean? Like that. It's not completely documented.
Your video paused, by the way.
Yeah, I seen that.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff just paused up. Okay. So I'll just keep it going then. So with that, there was a lot of acting to it also. But you have Stone's alternative theory. A would be the military industrial complex. Kennedy's plans to withdraw from Vietnam and reduce military spending, and the military-industrial complex potentially motivated for his assassination. So you kind of have to look into the idea that our own military got a little upset about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they seem to have got to the point to where you had the military industrial complex kicking off, and that they're getting money like crazy. And then you have a guy who comes in and he is just ready to just completely get away from all of that stuff and take away your cash cow. So that is just one of his theories on who could have done it. And that in this movie, that's one of the, it's kind of like one of the avenues they have.
I've heard of that one before. I've heard about that. It was a whole money thing is the reason why he was taken out. Specifically, I've heard that a lot about JFK. Like he was assassinated because it was money problems. It was a big thing with that, like you said about the architectural thing and all that. I've heard a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. So, here we go. Luna chimed in. Frank
Regano, I think.
Regano. He was the mob lawyer. Also was a lawyer for Jimmy Hoffa. Okay. What was the connection then directly with JFK and the mob? Maybe we can just narrow it down that way.
Yeah, that might be a little bit easier.
Yeah. And Russell Wilson, I'm sorry if you're in there. My screen froze up, so I wasn't able to pull anything in. Sorry. If you want to come back in and then send me a message, let me know what you want to talk about, and we'll let you on. But we're going to move forward with that. So that's where we're at with the military industrial complex portion of it. Mm-hmm. I honestly think that is something that should have been looked at a little more, and maybe should have been brought up a little more when discussed with this. So now inside that, you have the CIA and NSA, alleged CIA and NSA involvement in the assassination. Potential motives were Kennedy's firing of the CIA director, Alan Dulles, and plans to splinter the CIA into 1,000 pieces.
I heard that he was trying to take apart the CIA, and that was like another big factor.
Yeah, that was a big factor. And I believe at that time,
because at that time, the CIA had their hand in like everything all over the world. They were trying to know about Russia, China, all the other countries, of course, because this is what was it again?
Give me 1 second. It was 1963.
Okay, that's what I thought. And I mean, this is after World War II and whatnot, and we're trying to remember where we at. Was it not the Korean War? Was it Vietnam at the time?
Vietnam
was about to happen, or we were in Vietnam.
We were in Vietnam. They were wanting to withdraw from it,
and so yeah, and I know like we were all over the world with the CIA, like they were literally everywhere at the time, and like in a lot of different things, and just trying to get information and spy on everything, and that I'm not surprised about. So yeah, I can see that the CIA was a little pissed off and had something to do with it.
Yeah, and I believe that does have a factor to do with it. I mean, it's definitely something that can open up the door. I'm looking right now during the Kennedy during Kennedy's doesn't give me Alan Dulles. Okay, so Alan was the director during the CIA of the CIA during the Kennedy assassination. So he would be the guy to kind of follow down the rabbit hole of this. So he was upset because Kennedy's refusal to provide air support to the Bay of Pigs invasion. Kennedy's plan to cut the budget by 20%, and his belief that the president was weak on communism. And that's another thing that was brought up a lot with Kennedy himself was they said he was a communist sympathizer,
I've heard that quite a bit.
which not sure about that.
No, but it's one of those rumors that was mentioned here and there and whatnot about his whole thing.
Yeah, and it was I don't know. It's kind of one of those things that if you're not in the room when these people are talking to each other, or you're actually hearing what their actual thoughts are, it's kind of one of those things, like
Yeah.
I don't
You need
know.
to hear directly from them instead of
Yeah.
just maybe somebody said this. Like you don't want to hear that. Like you want to hear the exact words from someone's mouth over that.
I totally agree with you on that one. Okay, so and then we also go into the grassy knoll and multiple shooters, which there was eyewitness accounts of shots coming from the front and the side. The magic bullet theory, that's where all that comes from. You got the bullet that apparently made a turn in mid flight.
Yeah, I've heard that. I don't believe that. I am in part with the one where there was a guy on the grassy knoll, because I've heard that there is other stories that are not told, but you got to really dig for it. That there was a woman that said she's seen some man with an umbrella, and this umbrella just all of a sudden was aimed at JFK, and then yeah,
It's kind of weird because there's a video out there that it shows that there's a possibility, and I know there's a few people who may have debunked this in just viewing the footage and things like that and cleaning it up and all that. But there was a video floating around where it looked like the driver himself.
yes, I knew you were going to say this. This is what I want to talk about next. Is that the driver turned around, shot him in the head, and Jackie just screamed, and then he just drove off.
Yeah,
I've heard that so many times, and there's supposed to be video evidence of it from somebody that's like above the parade going through, and like they caught it, and then like that it disappeared. I've heard that before.
yeah. Okay, so Luna's answering us. It's hard to get a straight answer. On January 14th, 1992, Regano told Jake Newfield of the New York Post that he relayed a request from Hoffa to Trafficant.
I don't know what that word is.
Trafficanti or Marcello? Trafficanti. I think those are mobsters asking that the two mafia bosses kill. Okay, I see where I see what you're answering for me. Okay. So that would go into what we were talking about with the mafia involvement.
And again, we know Hoffa had a whole thing with the mob. They funded his whole thing and whatnot, and he was doing all those shady deals and whatnot and everything. What was that movie, The Irishman, with Robert De Niro in it?
Yeah, that's it.
Which it's maybe a 3-hour movie, but it's a damn fucking good movie, actually. If you want to watch something good, it actually gives you insight. There's also more Hoffa documentaries that I've watched over the last few years and whatnot about his thing. So Hoffa was a piece of shit who honestly deserved to be taken out in the back seat of that car.
Well, maybe some things happen that we're not too concerned about.
Trust me, it wasn't because of a wet fish in the back seat that that's the story. I love that bit for the movie.
Hey, you want to know something? Okay, so you know me so far, and you know that my mind just constantly goes. Did you notice that once we started talking indirectly about it was mostly the CIA and the NSA, once we got into that, little territory, that's when all the funny shit started happening on this
Yeah.
end. And did you notice that we had someone pop in, and once they popped in, all that funny shit kind of started happening?
Yeah.
That's where my mind goes, because you know what? You're here to keep me level, okay, Viking? That is your main job, is to keep my crazy ass
I didn't
level.
add to it, but I noticed the person that popped in here was like, "Hey, let me in," and I'm like, this is odd that your video just froze."
Yeah, and plus, just heads up, fans, and the fans that have popped into the things that I do, you guys all know instantly when you get in here, if you're in the screen, just don't type in "let me in." Type "this is what I want to talk about," and we'll fit you in, because that's how you keep the show
I was
kind of
gonna say,
flowing.
do you even know who this person is? Like, I
No,
don't
I
think
mean,
I've ever
it
seen him
popped up
before.
Russell Wilson with
I
a
mean, Russell Wilson to me is just a shitty quarterback now. So
Yeah, and I mean, maybe he wanted to talk to me about going to the Bears and improving them a little bit. Who knows? But yeah, that's where my mind was kind of tinkering.
listen,
But
y'all can't even be proved Russell Wilson as your quarterback. All right?
yeah, we're not even going to get into this.
No,
I
no.
don't want to talk about the Bears. They hurt my heart.
I'm sorry.
It's
I'm
okay.
sorry. Your team sucks.
Yeah, me too. Me too. But
I
we're
don't
going to
have that
jump.
problem.
You don't. But we won't talk about that either, because that hurts my heart too. So the Zapruder film, it actually it more goes towards the potential of the lone gunman theory.
Mm-hmm.
It says it's claims of missing frames and altered footage, and that's through the Zapruder film, which is another uh well, I believe that's the footage from somebody in the crowd. uh Good luck, Viking, keeping you level-headed. Yes, I do agree on that one.
Hey, now.
But he did kind of pull me back on the thinking of that. So I think we'll be
I'm not
okay.
really sure exactly what my job is here. I'm just the secondary. That's just part for it. So
Well, you do a hell of a job, whatever you do here. Um, well, and what have you heard with the autopsy, if
nothing.
anything?
Ever really looked into that. I guess now that I think about it, it never really came to mind to look at that.
Oh,
I know nothing about his autopsy. Now that I think about it, I may have years ago and probably forgot that information, but yeah, please do tell.
okay, so in the film, you're going to see that there's discrepancies in the autopsy report and the body examination. Alter Allegations of body alteration to support the lone gunman theory, and there's talks of that. There's talks of a doctor that went in there. Um, I can't even remember his name, but that he went in there and he put some things back before they did the official report.
Hmm.
And I mean, when you look into it, they the Warren Commission report, completely just throwing out the fact that there could have been a government cover up for this. Claims claims of a larger conspiracy involving government agencies and officials. The Warren Commissions had flaws, and it was biased. I mean, it was extremely, the way they made it seem, like Oswald was just ready to go out there and shoot this president. And honestly, when you look into Oswald's when you look into his actual life, it's a pretty interesting venture you can actually go through.
Hmm.
I don't know if you want to pull some up of this. I'm gonna pull up the Lee Harvey Oswald information. If okay, we got that there. Okay, Luna, if you want to, can you find anything out for the let's just say the top reasons the Warren Commission report is not really accepted anymore. Like it's, I guess the top
Ruled
things
out.
that have been dismissed from the Warren's report. I got some Lee Harvey Oswald stuff up. I just pulled up. So there's a whole thing with Lee Harvey Oswald and his background. Is there anything you know about Lee Harvey Oswald?
He was a Marine, of course. He's a military, and he wasn't very good at it. He was a little psychotic. Didn't he beat his wife or something like that, or his ex-wife?
There
or
was some
something?
allegations of that, yeah.
And he gone south, and he was connected to the KKK or something like that, and like his family was involved with it and some other things, and there was like a whole mess of things, of course, that were added into his background, and a lot of it is seems fake and added in by the media and whatnot, and what's controlled by certain people, and it you look him up and there's a lot of different things said about him, so I'm not exactly sure exactly what to go off of, because there's a lot of information that comes out if you look up his past, and like there's some stuff that's small and then some stuff that seems linked, and it's just like, huh? But yeah.
Well, okay. So there's a theory out there with his connections with the CIA. The Warren report said that there was none of that, but there's some things with there's National Archives with him indicated being involved with them. I just pulled one up right now. It's a 105-page report.
Wow.
Him out of Tokyo Station. It was just within the last I guess release during the Biden administration, the last declassification of the JFK files.
I was gonna say, didn't they just release some stuff like a year or so ago, or 2 years ago, in the last few years during the Biden administration?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, he was. There's some things that they pulled out of that kind of his time as a young Marine in the Atsugagi Naval Air Facility in Japan. Atsugagi, I think that's how you say it. In 1957. Yeah, it was a launching pad. So this specific thing that he was on was a launching pad for U-2 spy flights over the Soviet Union, and was also a hub of the CIA's research into psychedelic drugs. Okay, so now we're getting into some things.
Wasn't he a test subject for it, for like LSD or something?
Yeah, yes.
I think he was. He was a test subject for some drugs for like the LSD or some shit, and I think he took them, and people said he wasn't the same afterwards or something.
Well, this goes into a lot of what I've discussed with some people on the whole idea of I forget the project that it was. Project not Mockingbird. There was a project that they used to do. Okay, so what they would do, it was over in California, San Francisco is the one that I've read a bunch about. It was the Hyatt Nashberry area, and I will get into what you sent, Luna, right after this. But during the Hyatt Ashbury, they would take these prostitutes, exotic dancers, things like that, and they would get them to dose a person.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would the CIA would be in like a room next door, like recording everything and all this stuff. I can't remember the damn.
I know what you're talking about. I don't remember it either.
I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, that's that kind of plays into this because it's in that same area and things like that. And then you can get into Timothy Leary, who is considered the godfather of LSD. He pretty much made the recipe for the enlightenment of LSD, pure in form and everything. So we have our
he's like the Walter White of LSD.
Yeah, pretty much.
Got
it. Yeah, when you break it down into like a Hollywood aspect, yeah, pretty much. So we got our young Jamie Luna. She is chiming in with Mark Lane, Jim Garrison, and Jay Epstein each conducted their own in-depth investigation into the event. They chose to explore the facts of the assassination themselves and develop their own opinions. Rather than accepting what the others claimed as fact, their independent research contributed to new information and drastically altered how many people felt about the assassination, and more specifically, the credibility of the Warren Report. So those guys, those three guys are the ones who jumped in, kind of looked at it all, and it did discredit a lot of the Warren Report. Lane points out inconsistencies where the Warren commissions ignored testimonies and failed to fully investigate certain aspects of the assassination. See, and the more that I'm reading what she's typing in here, puts me more directly to what we're talking about with the Oliver Stone theory.
Mm-hmm. And just real quick, and universally, like pretty much everybody agrees the Warren Report wasn't correct. I've heard it so many times. The Warren Report wasn't done correctly.
Oh, I agree.
He didn't do it correctly, and he didn't. It was very sloppy. He didn't investigate correctly. He didn't question the right people. I've heard it so many times. And yes, we all know the Warren Report was bullshit.
But was that planned?
Probably.
Like here's my thinking. And if I'm going off of that, let's just say the Warren Report was meant to be the Band-Aid that needed stitches.
Definitely.
You have so many people like literally losing their minds over this. This was an event that shook a nation. And say what you want about JFK and whatever he was into and what he did, but he was somebody beloved by a lot of Americans.
So influential too.
Yeah,
you gotta remember that, because he was seen as this guy standing up for us and everything, and like he's for us, and that was the big push back then, is that he's all about being for us, and that's what people thought.
Yeah, and that can move mountains. I mean, we're seeing it right now, and plus he was wanting to get us out of a lot of things that were not beneficial to us. They weren't helping the everyday American. They were actually, people were dying. They were at war. They were fighting for land for another country to keep. We have Luna chiming in saying, well, she just chimed in again and jumped it. There we go.
She is posting the facts.
Lane and Epstein also question Oswald's marksmanship and the single shooter hypothesis. The gun that Oswald used in the killing was described as inaccurate, unreliable, and poorly designed. This, coupled with the fact that Oswald's classification as a poor shot in his last testing in the Marine Corps corpse raised some eyebrows. The Warren Commission's initially attempts to recreate the shots failed, and the commission had 6 shooters who all classified as experts attempt to reenact Oswald's shot in the established time frame, but not one of them were able to do so. And they were firing at stationary targets. Another point of contention that critics pointed to was where the shots came from. Of the 90 witnesses who were asked by the commissions where the shots came from, 58 said they thought the shots came from the grassy knoll and not the Texas School Depository, like the commissions determined. This suggests the possibilities of a second shooter, and therefore conspiracy theories others believe they had
Validated? Validity?
Validity. And
yeah, and this is a part where I know a little bit more on. Yes, because the shot that he supposedly took is a damn near impossible shot. Okay,
yeah,
it's a very hard shot, and I know about the fact that they tested this, and I know Oswald was seen. It's well documented that he was a very poor fucking shot. That he sucked at shooting. Supposedly he grew up shooting whatnot, but or his family hunting, whatever. But he was a shitty shot. He really was. And the fact that he's the one that could have made this shot, I very much disagree.
yeah.
There's no way he could make this shot. He was a poor shot, even stationary. And what he used a bolt action, I can't remember the gun, but it wasn't an M1. That's what people like to say. Wasn't it a Springfield rifle? I can't remember the exact rifle he used. I cannot remember. Please look that up, hon. I remember the gun. Primer has specific name. I don't know why I can't remember the gun, but yeah, no. And there was other people that tested this theory of he took the shot, and they all proved that there's no way he could have took the shot. He didn't take the shot. He definitely did not. The shot came from the grassy knoll, and I'll die on the hill that that's what happened. I'll literally die on that grassy knoll hill that he did not take the shot.
Yeah,
Carcano, yeah, a Carcano, yeah, that's what he used. And like, this gun isn't a shitty gun though. Exactly, it's not really horrible. It's good enough to make a shot, but the bullet that was used for one was definitely capable of getting there faster than needed, and that's the thing. So, there was definitely a second shooter on the hill.
Yeah, I mean, the more you look into it, and the
more you look into facts, the more it makes sense the fact that there was a second shooter and that things were covered up.
Yeah, it's just so weird because like you said, in today's day and age, we know that the Warren report was just atrocious.
I mean, you want to get into today's day and age, you can't tell me that, back in June, that it didn't look like it was trying to be recreated with a certain person who's now the next president again.
Well, and that's an interesting thing you bring up.
There's a lot of correlations between the two of that and JFK. That I'm sorry, but it's the facts that somebody would try to use an AR-15 with a red dot that only has a 1 to 4 times zoom. You're not going to see your target very well at that distance. And the fact that all those people on those rooftops didn't notice this person climbing up when others said they seen him climbing up, tried to report it to the authorities, and they did nothing. This is just JFK 2.0 is what almost happened a couple months ago.
Yeah, I mean, I watched I know as soon as it happened, I was at my mom's house. We had a softball tournament out towards her way, and We watched damn near from when it happened to when I left the next day. And there was so many weird things that happened in just that moment. Like you said, I mean, first off, if you go into what Cash Patel was bringing up at that time, in what world does anybody with a rangefinder walk anywhere where there's a president? The kid was walking around with a rangefinder. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck do people think you do with that thing? Like,
I mean,
it's
unless
not.
people thought it was a camera. I mean, a rangefinder is handheld in the first place, so you just hold it to your eye.
Well,
It
they
can look
found
like
it
a
at the gate where
Yeah, I know.
where you get checked in, and they just allowed them to walk around with it. So
Yeah.
people who are involved in the security of this
And the
establishment.
only way I could see a rangefinder being relevant to somebody being there is one, of course, the authorities on the roofs and whatnot,
Mhm.
and the ones on the ground, but also I could see it for a cameraman because you're going to find out the distance you can be to take good pictures. Luna, am I wrong? As a person that takes pictures with a camera, once you find a rangefinder, I'm only using Luna as an example because she actually takes pictures and does picture shoots and whatnot. She's been doing it for years. But would a rangefinder be beneficial to your distance? I mean, you're trying to take shots and not look, not be in front of everybody, but getting a good shot of everything. Rangefinder is going to benefit you a lot. I've heard of cameramen and whatnot having a rangefinder because it's beneficial for you. Like, say for example, a someone who goes bird watching wants to take pictures. They're going to have a rangefinder to see if they have this spot they want to watch birds land in, where they put feed in and whatnot. They're going to know the distance and use a rangefinder. You're not going to just walk up and be like, that looks like 300, 400 yards. I'll sit here. No, you're going to use a rangefinder to find out your distance. Like, right? That's the only way I could see that rangefinder being used as a way of, not to find the distance to a target that you're trying to take out.
But in
the
that
picture.
also, you would have to have credentials
Mm-hmm.
saying that this is why I'm here. This is what I'm doing. I mean,
Exactly. But I mean, the gate just lets you in, didn't take a second guess. I guarantee the person that did that was not an actual event person or something, but somebody else that was planted there to make sure if they seen this kid walking up with a specific shirt on that made a certain YouTuber who me and Luna love to watch, by the way. I introduced her to him and she loves watching the videos. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's actually Demolition Ranch shirt that he wore, which made Matt Carricker very famous, very fast, unexpectedly. And just to let you know, Demolition Ranch is the biggest gun tube channel on YouTube. Okay. With over like 12 million subscribers or something like that. I mean, his videos post, with like 1 million views every single vid. Like,
but you see, even with you giving me that information, do you understand that just puts another piece to the puzzle?
It does, but okay, I'm going to hold you off on that one. Do not go after Demolition Ranch because he definitely would not be somebody that I could ever see having something to do with this. I know we like to investigate people, but I'm going to fight you on that one.
No.
I do not see it happening.
You see, Viking, you got to trust me here. You got to just trust me.
I know, but I also know how you work. And remember, my job's to reel you back in. So that's what I'm trying to do.
It is.
Because I definitely don't see Demolition Ranch being involved any single
I'm not saying that one bit. I am so far from that stadium. I'm watching another sport. What?
But that was a plant, though. The T-shirt was the plant, though.
That's what I'm saying.
Was.
Okay.
Oh, it was.
It was the
supposedly
plant.
This T-shirt was bought beforehand, though, a long time ago. Specifically, I guess supposedly, because just let you know, Bunker Branding could totally track. I'm pretty sure they were asked for the details of the order because he owns his own company, Bunker Branding, who does his T-shirts through them, and like I know all about his company. I've watched this company. I have T-shirts from that company.
But what did you say this YouTube channel was?
Demolition Ranch.
No, what did you say that it was? They are the biggest what?
Gun tuber channel.
If you are trying to throw out there and get gun control and you want to throw someone under the bus.
I thought about this as well. Yeah, I know.
Why
Where you're going
wouldn't
with
you
this.
have one of these little dirt-to-dirts that are going to go out there and try to shoot somebody? Wear that. So now that you're looking into that, that guy gets famous off of that. Nothing he did. He's doing his job. He did his stuff. People bought his stuff. They're trying to curb guns here.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing buybacks in places. They're, going against your constitutional rights in other places. For me though, it's the idea of if he would have hit his target, that place would have been destroyed. There would have been the calling and the demand for personal firearms would have been very aggressive. And a YouTuber who has just made his money off of doing something he enjoys and people enjoying that and liking it and supporting it, they were willing to do that. They were willing to throw the shark bait out there with that guy in the waters.
Oh,
Isn't that crazy?
definitely. I could see it because you'll see in the pictures when the big ass, the big headed dipshit, when he's turned around looking around with the rangefinder, you see Demolition Ranch on his back. That's the gray shirt. That's literally the standard T-shirt they sell.
Yeah.
And I know this because I've been on Bunker Brandy before. That's the website he Bunker Brandy, I should say, is the brand he has. That's the building and the whole company he has that produces all their T-shirts. I'm gonna say this: he does his merch, he does other YouTubers' merch. Like he has over probably 100 different, maybe more YouTubers that's who he like manages their merch, and that's how he's built kind of a company for himself to have, which is really smart if you think about it. But he did this also to have them all well done and whatnot for other YouTubers. But and so he has no real reason to like be a part of this, and so yeah, they just used him. That's what they did, I think. I
So
really think they used him as like a, hey, this is totally, he might be collected because um there's a joke that you're part of the demolitia is like his fans. That's what he calls us, is the demolitia, because if you're like a part of the YouTubers, like YouTubers always have their what they call their group of people and whatnot,
yeah,
and like that's what he's called them. And I'm like, maybe they were trying to play off of that, and like maybe they just thought, he'll be a target, and they're like, he's totally organizing a demolition. That's just a whole fucking joke. Like
but and I'm not trying to stir up any politics or
no,
anything like that, but if you like do your research and you go back and you look at the what the hell was that one group that McGinnis was a part of?
uh,
They got in trouble. Fuck, they were calling
McGinnis hooligan.
no yeah, Gavin McGinnis, that was out of he was on Timcast a couple times. He started the
Guinness
Proud Boys. Okay.
Proud Boys.
Yeah. Okay. So the Proud Boys were considered the next this generation's KKK. They were calling them racist white people.
Oh,
But anyways, they said this started off as a joke, and it was on the Gavin McGinnis started it on a show that he used to do, an internet show. Uh, but he he would do these really stupid things, and he would be like, "I'm a proud boy, proud of it," and he would just go on these rants. Yes, very get off my lawn type energy, things like that. And it picked up, and it started like people like his fans started, making merch saying that. Well, they got big enough to where it was kind of considered a militia. You could consider it that, because they were also organizing, and anytime anytime that he that the Antifa was going out and protesting, the Proud Boys would go out there and they would fight them.
Oh yeah. Okay, now this
Okay.
makes sense. Okay,
So,
yeah.
but this
Get a
is
whole war with Antifa. That's right.
yes. Okay. So this is the funniest fucking part. And this is the only time that I will stand up and applaud Antifa for their tactics. But so
Was he just fucking with them? That's all he wanted to do. Like the whole time was just fucking
at
with
the
them.
start, that's what it
Right?
started out as. And then it took its own thing. Like it grew its own legs. People there, you have the one dude that's now in jail, Avatari or something like that. He was a founder of it. He's in jail for conspiracy to overthrow the government, things like that. But this was the funny part about it, though. So Antifa would go, and they would be out there getting ready to fight the Proud Boys. They would all fight, and then once the cops started coming, Antifa took the fuck off. Anybody who was involved with, they were like, fuck this shit, we're getting the fuck out of here. And they all wear masks and they cover their faces, so
yeah, they do.
all you have to do is take it off, and then you're like, you can't prove that I did that. Brilliant. I think that is a great tactic. But the Proud Boys would stick around and they would be like, yep, just got in a fight with those guys over there, and they would get arrested. I would just laugh because I'm like, you
Jeez.
guys are fucking so goddamn dumb that you're just gonna, yep, we just got in a little tussle with, oh,
Did nobody learn? Don't be that retarded. Like, don't be like, oh yeah, we got to fight with them. Like, don't do that.
yeah, it's just so dumb. Well, and you know what? Don't, if something happens where you're like, you start like a joke, and it gets actual legs, maybe pump the brakes if it gets a little too radical. I'm just saying, just
Yeah.
maybe pull back. Gavin, he is the type of guy who just goes forward and he just pushes down on the gas. Luna shared his Wikipedia with me. Trust me, Luna, this guy I've been following, he makes me laugh. There's a lot of them that make me laugh because if you just sit and listen to them talk, it's very comical. It's like Alex Jones. I tell people all the time, yes, are you gonna probably not want to listen to most of what he's saying, but when he gets on a rant, it is like, it's almost like watching Chris Farley just start ad-libbing on something
Oh,
to where
God.
he ultimately is just self-deprecating on himself about his weight or what he looks like in certain clothing. And it just, there's a comical aspect to it. I don't buy into a majority of what these guys say, but I will sit and watch it
This
and
just
just
reminds me
laugh.
of Theo Vaughn a little bit.
See, but Theo Vaughn comes in with and I know this is going to be an oxymoron, but he comes into it with a legitimate mindset. I mean, look, one of the most famous things with Alex Jones is he yelled that they're turning the frogs gay.
I knew you were going to say that.
Okay. So he
I
yells
said
that
to
out.
Luna time randomly. I'm like, the frogs are gay, don't you know?
He just yells this out and he is just screaming at the top of his lungs. RFK Jr. comes out years later and he's like, well, if you look at the research that these companies are doing about the chemicals they're putting into the water, it's actually, we did research with 23 males. It turned them all female and 6 of them were able to reproduce. So
Yeah, but okay, aren't frogs able to switch their gender? Yeah, aren't they able to do that on their own? I always thought they were able to, like their
I
own.
believe that they have a capability of doing this, but this was at a mass rate, and very quickly it was doing this to these frogs. We can definitely pull up the RFK Jr. Report. I know a lot of people are not hip on what he's saying, but he's been saying the exact same things he was saying before he lined up with Trump. So, there's always those moments to kind of look back on also.
I mean, shit, because RFK Jr., a gun tuber, just might be the director of ATF. So If you don't know what I'm talking about, his name's
Sure.
Brandon Herrera. He's actually good friends with Demolition Ranch.
I
He
think you
uses
need.
his rage to shoot his videos. Brandon Herrera is known as the AK guy.
I'm just
So
laughing at this.
no, he might be the director of the ATF, which is the greatest thing ever, and we all want it. We all fucking want Brandon Herrera to do it. He's the top runner and vote on that website that RFK is doing. That one website that's all the asking the people. He's the top vote that somebody wrote in as a joke, but now he's the top vote to be the director of ATF. Possibly.
Hey, a lot of people didn't think Kash Patel was going to get his nomination, but
Well, you see, Brandon Herrera actually earlier this year ran for his local congressman down in his district down in Texas, because the one that had his district it's actually the largest district in Texas, and he was very much seeing that the congressman that was for the area was definitely anti-gun and anti-against the area, basically doing everything to just benefit himself. He got beat out though. It actually became a swing vote, and then it became the race between the two of them at the end because he didn't get enough votes to just be voted in, the current congressman. So yeah, he does have some political background a little bit. He was on the campaign trail the whole time months ago, and he tried. So, and Brandon Herrera is smart. He's young. He owns his own company. He has his own gun manufacturing company, and he's very knowledgeable. And I could see him actually being a very good director for ATF because he's very smart. He's been asked to come and talk at different things about different committees about gun rights and stuff in different communities, all the way up in Colorado. He was asked to come there and talk on some things. And like, I would totally see it. I know we're getting way off track, but like, it's
no.
just funny. That's kind of related a little bit into the RFK thing, is the fact that he's actually all the shit we're talking about. He's kind of related into it.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
yeah.
and that's where my next point was going to go. Where we talked about there was a lot of connections with today's day and age and exactly what JFK was doing. And there's been talks about it. I mean, you get Cash in there, and he's already said he wants things released. He wants to look at exactly what everybody does, and if your agency is not doing what it's supposed to be doing, because it just boggles my mind. And I guess it really doesn't, because I can look at it at a logical aspect. It's very weird to me though, growing up from 83 to now and seeing my grandparents talk about politics, my parents, and then me becoming in high school. 9/11 happens in my high school. I start to question things about it because I'm like, well, this doesn't make sense. Why is this going up with this? Why is that? And then, you know, we in that time, and it's not just to me, I mean, everybody notices it, but after 9/11, we get the Patriot Act. And at the time, everybody's like, oh yeah, the Patriot Act, we need that. And then when you actually look at it in today's day and age, a lot of what they were doing was just more of an ability to see what you and me are doing, and not what other people are doing. Like, they're almost like, we don't care about other people and what they're doing. We want to know what you guys are doing here.
It was more for Big Brother to come through more and be like, hey, what are you doing over there? Let's investigate it.
Exactly.
As I'll say to this day, I will not have an Alexa, a Google Home. I'll never have any of that. Honestly, we probably have more electronics than we need, but there's some stuff you need in this world. And there's a reason why I'll never get those, because you can't fight me and not say that those things aren't monitored by the government. I will fight anybody on that. Alexa totally is. So is the Google Home thing. So is all those other things. And I've said to you before, there was that certain thing on Facebook years ago. There was that little green white one, I remember it is, and they got pissed at the fact that I was calling them out on their bullshit. And I found the links to how they're with Google Home that they've already been documented and contracted to put these certain devices in them with other companies. And I found that shit out. That was my own conspiracy theory thing years ago that I found to be true. And this is one of the reasons why I will not have a Google Home or Alexa. I will not have that shit.
Well,
So yeah,
I can understand that. I mean, there's been plenty of backed up actual like data, actual research looking into how they do some of these things. And people, I know a lot of people say that the iPhone, in which it does always listen to us, it listens.
Yep.
It takes I think it's like every 5 seconds, it takes an infrared picture, does scans, things like that, which, you know, it's in the fine print. It's just it's like the South Park episode, The Centipede, where they try to get you to read the fine print, and they keep telling them, you signed up for this, and then the doctor puts them all together like a centipede, and
Yep.
and he's like, I'm just trying to get you to read what you're signing up for. I mean, and that's a big reason why I like to when I hear people say the Simpsons theories are the most accurate, I say no. The most accurate are the South Park theories, because they are predicting exactly what is happening in today's day and age.
Oh,
Am I sitting here saying that there's people out there hooking us up ass to mouth and having us become the centipede? No. But if you take the concept of it and you say, hey, it's all feeding into one big information monster, that's what it's doing. That's what you're doing. You get a device, you sign up, you hook it up, you get it running, you put all your information into it. Now it's feeding. And now you can actually go into it and you can see the fact that our phones talk to each other. So if I'm talking about something on Facebook, or I'm sharing something, let's say a product, and then me and Viking meet up a couple hours after that, and we both put our phones up on the bar and we just start talking, our phones start sending each other messages and all this shit. And now we're linking up, because then once I leave, or even if I check my phone there, it's suggesting some of his friends that I might be interested in talking to. It's taking some of the products that he's bought and it's cross-referencing it with what I bought. And then if I don't have it, or I have something like it, it's suggesting it to me.
Right.
We live in a consumer-based world. I mean, that's what we are. We are bred to be the consumer.
That's like, we all know if you talk about a certain product around your phone, that product is going to start. Say you and your wife are talking about, or me and Lunar, we talk about something, looking into getting something. What you're talking about, products related to that or that specific thing, are going to show up in ads and whatnot. Like say you're in Facebook and like some website I look at for t-shirts or something pops up. Yeah, I look at it. That is automatically already put into my Google searches and whatnot, that it's going to pop up across other websites on their little ad things on the side. I've seen it happen before so many times, because you looked at it and they're like, hey, you like this? Like, here's another link to it. You want to go back to it?
Yeah.
That's what they do. They do that. I've seen it so many times.
And we as a nation, not we as just individuals, we search for that convenience. Anytime you go with your family or your friends out to go and do something, oh, look at this, we got the Lou chiming in. He's given us some emoji icons. We love you, Lou. Thanks for jumping in with us. We're pretty much wrapped up on the JFK, so now it's just kind of the free form of our show.
Yeah, we've already ADHD'd out a while ago.
But you know what I absolutely get so aggravated with is we demand convenience, and then when we are supplied convenience, there's something extra thrown into it. It's almost like a bill that they're trying to get passed. So they're going to title it, let's just say, Call of Duty Awesome Gun Perk 2000. And you're like, oh, wow, that really sounds great. I'm definitely going to get behind that. And then right when they do the final stamp, you look and it goes, oh, it's also got research for if maple syrup can dry in cold weather. We need $30 million for that. What the fuck
I
do we
was
need that?
expecting a curveball like that. Holy shit, that was funny.
But that's what they do. And then
You're
all of a
not
sudden
wrong.
they go, "Oh well, we're fucking broke." Well, where'd all the money? Well, we're researching the maple syrup and if it can fucking freeze. Well, it can. Let me
Oh,
just
do you know what a good example of this is that I can relate this to?
lay it on
So,
me.
if you remember, okay, do you remember the Skyrim co-op mod that was being made? Did you ever hear about that? The Skyrim co-op mod that's being on Nexus, okay, online. So the guys that were doing that, all right, were taking people's money from the Kickstarters and whatnot, okay? And people were asking, like, hey, it's been like 4 or 5 years. Where's the mod? They said, you gave us your money. We're gonna take as much time as we need. It's our decision. Straight up.
Yep.
That right there is a great comparison, basically, and that's what happened. I think the mod is finally out. It was released like 2 years ago, but they took their sweet ass time at developing it. Like this group of modders, like took their time. But the guy specifically said, I'll never forget the post. It was something like, "Yeah, you gave us your money, but we're still taking our time. We'll do it when we want to."
Exactly. There were what I mean, did people even look at if there was any fine print in this? Like
No, I believe it's just the Kickstarter. I don't know much about the Kickstarter itself, but yeah, that's what it was.
exactly. So therefore, the guy who posted that is 150 million% right. Because
Yeah.
he could have wrote in there, it's going to take 20 years for this to happen. And people are just throwing money at it. No one's looking. No one's saying, hey.
Oh yeah, because all people hear is Skyrim co-op mod. That'd be cool, which is a
Exactly.
working thing now. But hey, you think about it, like it's Skyrim co-op mod. Yeah, I'd love to play Skyrim with my buddy. Oh, don't forget about the Elder Scrolls Online game that you could totally play with somebody. But the Skyrim mod, that's way better. Well, because Skyrim is better than the Elder Scrolls Online shit. But oh, I hate that fucking game. It's so ugly. It's such an ugly game. I hate the graphics for it. It's so fucking ugly. But you know, you hear Skyrim co-op mod. Oh fuck yeah, that'd be cool. I play Skyrim with you. Hell yeah! Like
Yeah.
we'd all love Skyrim to be co-op. I think everybody fucking would, like just for free. But that's all people hear. That's it. They don't look at fine print and think, this is gonna blow back on me possibly.
Yeah. And I mean, that brings exactly what we're talking together.
Mhm.
If you're not looking at the fine print and you're not seeing what they're putting in there, you're going to have to eat the shit sandwich that you signed up for. And just like my co-host sat here and said, he isn't getting certain devices. He knows that he's gotten the other devices, and yes, there comes things with those devices, but specifically the ones that he doesn't want, he doesn't purchase. So like that's the ultimate freedom right there. I don't have to accept your fucking Google Alexis 3000 because I'm not buying it, not putting it in my house.
Nope. Like I'm pretty sure I'm not sure, but my soundbar down there sometimes lights up for no fucking reason. It'll be the red light, like it turned off sometimes, because that's what shows up is there's like 3 or 4 lights, little dots that'll light up that shows it's off. Sometimes randomly the white lights show up, not the blue ones that say it's linking to something to listen for a Bluetooth device, but they just light up for no fucking reason. And I've been kind of monitoring that once in a while. I see the corner of my eye pop up down there in front of my TV, and I'm like, why the fuck are you on?
Shit. I would have been 3 pages deep in Reddit researching what the fuck that's doing.
Yeah, I'm
It's
like, I'm not really concerned because I don't have anything to hide exactly. I'm like, fuck it, you want to listen to me? Listen to me. I don't really fucking care exactly. But at times it's like, man, I want to see it light up again, just to see what it does, because that's all it does. I'm like, man, is it listening? I'm like, it's plugged in, but it's not connected to Wi-Fi or anything. Well, it might be through the TV, but and sometimes I think it is the TV trying to connect to it because of my settings, but
that could be it.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So I'm not really like concerned about it completely.
That's lame as shit though. So let's go down other rabbit holes. Maybe you're being monitored.
Maybe, possibly. I'm not surprised with all the shit I talk about.
They're like, we like to hear you walk by.
Probably.
There's a guy in Germany who just loves hearing you walk by.
Oh god, that reminds me of the ring cam fucking hacking shit.
Oh, dude, that's a trip. I mean,
Oh god, if you look into that shit, like damn, ring cams are
look
fucking
into it.
scary.
Look into it, man. You could fucking
Ring
find
cams are fucking
websites where
scary.
you
I
can
know there is. I know. I
live
know.
watch fucking ring cams. That's the scary part.
That's some scary ass shit. And especially if you have the ring cam hooked up to like your other cameras or some shit, which people do because you can like hook it up to your other security systems, I guess, inside your house, and then people can actually watch that. Like,
Yeah. You're pretty much setting up.
yeah, nanny cams. Luna's right. Nanny
Yeah,
cams have
you
been
are
getting hacked for
100% on
years
that.
and years. Like
Yeah.
we thought about getting a camera for like like maybe when we're gone, we'll have a camera set up in the living room for our cat. Because we thought about this a few times. Like, what does she do other than sleep all day? Like, what do we want to watch? But I mean, maybe I just want to do it to where we talk to the cat one time and freak her the fuck out. I've always wanted to do that. I've always wanted to do
That's
that
all you want it
to
for.
Snowy. That's all I want to do to
You
Snowy is just be
and
like,
then,
otherwise we just unplug the fucking thing.
yeah, just do it once and unplug it and be like,
Mhm.
yeah, fun. I experienced that. No, I could see it.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, it's and I think I recall uh what was it? It was back, I would say early 2000s, maybe like 2005, 2006. I was I was on just cruising around on the internet, enjoying life. And I came across the thing where you could, exactly what Luna was talking about, you could tap into nanny cams and basically watch it like a closed circuit television.
I'm not
Uh,
surprised back then because security was shit for everything, devices and whatnot. So I would be surprised if something was able to do that.
yeah. And isn't it crazy that we are into a point in society where there should be how we have a constitution, but
Mhm.
there should be a online constitution also.
Oh, absolutely, there should be. For the love of
Like,
God, because you look at data brokers and whatnot who steal your information, all that shit. Like, for the love of God, and you look at all these websites that if you watch YouTube, that you can't tell me there isn't a single one that doesn't have specifically, I guess, gun tubers, because that's who I watch a lot, but or otherwise mechanics and stuff and car stuff. But they have a lot of like delete me and was the other one, not Quora, but it's like pronounced like Quora. Has some weird name, Aura or something like that. Aura, I
mhm,
think it's Aura. Um, these websites that have all this, like, yeah, we can delete all the information that was tracked about you and like make sure they don't ever do it again. Like, we shouldn't even have that as a fucking option.
yeah,
But that's the thing nowadays. That's just like, it happens. But that shouldn't be what it is. Yeah, I got tracked. I took care of it. That shouldn't be a fucking thing. It wasn't a thing 20 years ago.
yeah. Oh no, I agree with you. And that's another reason why, bringing us full circle into the episode. That's another reason why I use DuckDuckGo, um, because I mean they know that it's an issue, and they keep everybody off of your shit. And you can get reports about it and everything. I know my iPhone once a week tells me how many people it stopped from tracking me, and it's like, again, I go where you're thinking, like, why is this a thing?
Why
why
is it a thing? Yeah.
why do we have to sign up for something like this? And I think, like what I was saying, a online constitution could definitely take care of things like that. I mean, and it could set, this is why I personally would love it, is because it would set a realistic set of rules that you could follow for using the internet and putting content on the internet.
Do you
So go
do you
ahead.
I was gonna say, do you know who should actually be in charge of this online constitution though? Is those guys that like specifically there's groups of YouTubers, of course they are, but or Twitch streamers that go around and they fuck with those hackers over in India or some other country, and they do that whole thing where they bait them for that whole thing. I love
Oh
watching
yeah,
those
I've seen
videos.
that.
I
Yeah.
love watching that shit. Those guys should actually be the ones that write up the Constitution
Honestly,
because there's nobody else in this. I didn't mean to cut you off, but there's nobody
no,
else in this world that knows more about your rights being invaded than they do.
yeah, I agree with you on there. those guys, I would honestly even accept the hacking group Anonymous.
Oh, fuck yeah. Oh my
the
God. Anonymous should
actual,
definitely.
back when it was actual, not just people cosplaying.
Mhm.
Because you go back and you look at the movie like Hackers. Go back and watch that. It's a fun movie. It's a great
I haven't
movie.
seen it in like fucking 20 years, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But like in it, you discover that, yeah, are these the kids that nobody wants to deal with? They're just doing their own weird shit, but they were actually trying to like stop certain shit from happening online.
Mhm.
You have there was a freedom online at one time where it was like they say, the wild wild west. There was insane shit you could find. Rotten.com was a thing. I don't know if it's still a thing, but
I
it
don't
was
think it is. Do
uh
not look up if it was. I don't
yeah,
want you to. I know you're
don't
about
yeah,
to.
just keep
Don't,
your
Luna.
innocence in life.
Don't.
But even before that though, you could go to a video store, and I don't know if you this is your timeline, Viking, but Faces of Death. You could rent Faces of Death, and I don't know if you've ever seen those things, but that's some fucked up shit. That's some shit that fucks you up in a certain way as a kid when you've seen it. Uh whoa. Yeah. Faces of
God.
Death were some intense things as a kid. But yeah, the internet, it does, I think, at a point need to be looked at in a eye of like, it's like a reality. It's a place where you could go and you can financially break yourself, or you could actually, if you play certain stocks and things like that, you can make a lot of money.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I think it's about time for an overall internet constitution and some wrangling in of these companies and what they can monitor and consume from us.
Definitely.
Uh, well, I think we should just should give our final thoughts on the JFK files, and maybe do you have the next topic you want to discuss?
Yes, yes. Oh, for you or for me? Because I know what mine is for next time.
Well, I think yours is the next time. This one was
Yes,
mine.
yes, this it will be for next time. Mine will be the Appalachians, of course.
Oh, yes.
That is definitely gonna be mine. Because there's so much to explore with that. And I think that'll be a really fun one to investigate for the more supernatural side of this podcast. I definitely, because there's so much that happens up there. I mean, you heard about all the time people's cars randomly stopping and lights going off and their headlights flashing, their alarm going off and their horn blaring. Like you hear about this. The whistles is another thing we'll get into.
Well, before you go dive into more of that,
Hmm,
for our fans, if they want to go out there and check out what we're going to be talking about, are we going the supernatural of the Appalachian Mountains? Is there a
definitely.
specific lane you want us to focus on?
Oh, there's a lot of that's a stretched out theory. There's a lot to explore there. No, seriously, when you talk about the Appalachians, there's a lot of hauntings up there. There's a lot of spooky shit that happens. It's gonna be, I mean, the Bigfoot sightings, the
Okay.
shadow people, the whistles. We're gonna investigate a lot of that. We're gonna talk about a lot of that.
Okay. So if you guys are going to join us and you want to be a part of that, go out there. If you don't have a personal story, maybe look up some of the stories and come in here and let us know what your favorites are, and we'll discuss that.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely gonna be my thing. That's
Sweet.
definitely for next time.
Do you have anything to promote that is coming up?
Nope, not really. I mean, what we have, I mean, I have wrestling shit that's coming up, but that's frontline pro stuff. I mean, shit, dude, we're gonna see Mustafa Ali next month,
Oh,
and he's coming to fight. I almost said his real name, but Joey Avalon, he's a wrestler, frontline pro. He actually previously earlier this year won a tag team title with Joe Hendry.
Oh, wow.
And Joe Hendry actually pinned my best friend's cousin. So that I seen the clip of that online. I was like, no fucking shit, that's cool. I was like, oh, Aaron got pinned by Joe. Haha, I don't like Aaron anyways. My buddy's cousin is a real dickhead. He's a hipster and
gross.
he's kind of an asshole, and nobody really actually likes him in wrestling. He's a nice guy, I guess, to everybody else, but he's a heel and he does it really good. But he's actually kind of a real life dick. Even his brother doesn't really like him a lot. I know his brother well too. His brother's a good buddy of mine. Put in perspective, their dad used to live down the street from me in my hometown. So I actually know their dad really well too. His dad's a really nice guy.
You know all the branches on that family tree.
The thing is, I didn't even know that like he was wrestling beforehand, and my buddy's just like, "That's my cousin." I'm like, "Huh?" He goes, "Yeah." And then his other cousin showed up, who I know very well. He's a hunter and a fisherman, and like I went fish with him and whatnot, and he's a really nice guy. So yeah, that was the whole thing one day, and I was like, "Oh, this is weird." I was like, "I actually know him." We found out he lives down the street from me.
Damn.
Yep.
That's crazy how it all works around.
Yeah, I know. I mean, look at our whole thing with Annie and Kevin and all that shit. Like, we never expected that to happen. Like, we're all kind of in the same world. It's weird how wrestling does this to us.
Hey, I always say
really is.
It's a big, big world.
It is.
And it accepts everybody in all walks of life. So come and join and be a part of it. And Kevin is cleared. He's back in the ring. He's starting to train again. And
good.
So he's going to be available coming up.
I mean, shit. I like to see. It'd be really cool to see him in Frontline.
Oh, trust me, I'm pretty sure that's.
I mean, I hope Annie can talk to Ben, my cousin, and get him in. Like, that'd be cool. I'd like to see Kevin out there in the ring. Oh yeah,
he does fantastic work. I've seen a lot of his videos and stuff that he's put out.
I'd like to see the Chaos Goblin up there. Like, that'd be cool.
Exactly what I was going to say.
Cool.
Go check out the Chaos Goblin, Kevin Calloway, and all he does. He's also, he's a little part of a thing I do on Mondays where we talk about Monday Night Raw. And that's where me and my buddies, Grunmeister, the blue-eyed villain himself, and the Chaos Goblin, Kevin Calloway, we talk Monday Night Raw, and we invite you to talk it with us. Usually Kevin gives out a subject, we talk about it. Grun gives out one, and I give one that is for everybody to digest. Kevin and Grun have been putting out some great topics as of late, and definitely getting some great fan interaction. So come be a part of that. That is Mondays at 7 p.m. On Fridays, though, I get a little extreme. Me and House, we go back in ECW and we talk ECW Hardcore TV. It has been a banger. Next week is our big pay-per-view week. We are going to watch November to Remember 1997, and it's a great one. You're all welcome to come be a part of that. We've had Sabu there. We are in talks of possibly getting Little Guido. So come, be a part of it. Let us know your ECW memories and what you love about ECW. And then on Sunday, you can catch me with the household where we just talk wrestling. We usually talk the week before or week prior. That's the word. And we talk it in depth. We go into a lot of the things that we like and a lot of things that we know are hitting out there in the world of wrestling. So come be a part of that. That is usually at 11 a.m. on a Sunday. This will be a Sunday where we don't have it. Still getting through the holidays. I believe Jones has some family coming in. So every Sunday after that, come hang out with us. This has been a good episode. We dove into the JFK, mostly the Oliver Stone theory, in which the theory I subscribe to. I really think there's a lot that Oliver Stone has been doing lately out there on different podcasts. I believe he was just on PBD's a couple weeks ago with his son. They were discussing his overall work, but the JFK files were definitely brought up. And I know he did a Rogan as in the past year or two. Definitely a great one to check out. That one was more specific towards the JFK movie, which he gets a lot of talk about. He really explored it in depth. If you've seen it, I advise you to go and see it again, rewatch it, go back, live it up again. Maybe show your kids or show some family members or friends. And if you haven't seen it, I definitely advise you to go and watch it. It's going to be a movie. This is a 90s movie. So there's going to be plots. There's going to be sitting and paying attention. I know movies of today are totally different from my kids tell me all the time. If they watch one that I've loved when I was a kid, they're like, there is too much story to this movie. They want to get it done. They want to get it over. But trust me, this is a fantastic movie. They really go in depth with all the theories that we talked about and all the possibilities. So, Viking, Luna, is there any last words you guys got for the fans and for anybody listening?
I like how I look at who's viewing you on Twitch, and I see Grizz Gaming, and then I see Grun as well, which is funny.
Yeah, I never understand why Grun doesn't ever just say something.
Grun watches. I know he does. He's done it a couple times, but he doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
No, I am with the Grassy Knoll assassination is how it was done. That's my opinion on it, of course. And it was all JFK very clearly was set up. And I'm gonna say this. The funny thing is about all these conspiracy theories, you think about it, JFK was more or less the first one to set it all off for a lot of people. It was the original one, if you think about it, because it's the first one that was brought up to the limelight for everybody.
Very true.
If you think about it, it's the most famous one for a reason, because it was kind of the first one to be brought out.
Yeah, and it was intertwined with others. You had the Bay of Pigs. You had our reasonings for being in the Vietnam War.
I mean, you have Jimmy Hoffa included as well, which was a big thing back then. And of course, and that's become a big subject more recently in the last few years with movies and whatnot, and media, like the Irishman movie, which may be a 3-hour movie, but it gets to the point eventually.
Yeah,
it was actually a really good movie if you watch the director's cut.
Yeah, I agree with you. It was a great movie.
It was. I don't like Robert De Niro anymore, but
yeah, he's a big baby.
Yep. But that was before the more recent last few years, so
yeah,
it was a good movie before that.
He still had a little sense in his head, and
wasn't a little bitch like he is now.
Luna, do you have any closing words for our friends? Maybe throw out your thoughts on the JFK assassination.
I don't really have a lot on the JFK assassination. I think I pretty much am on the same boat as you guys are. Although I did download DuckDuckGo, so I'll be using that next time.
I like it.
So hopefully I get better information for any searches. But it was pretty inconclusive when we were talking about, there wasn't a direct answer for some of the questions that you had. So I think for the most part, it's just a lot of research and a lot of its opinions. And I think hopefully next time we'll get better answers to your questions.
Hey, you did a great job. Google and DuckDuckGo. Here's an experiment you can do. Type in exactly what you want to look up. Type it in exactly the same in both, and then watch what pops up. I way prefer DuckDuckGo. I get more results, and I don't get what is trying to be pushed. I get what is actually being pushed by people researching the same things I'm researching.
Definitely use DuckDuckGo then more often.
Yeah,
if it gives me, not because Google does that thing. If you scroll down to the bottom of your searches at the bottom where it says, "Hey, this is the from your preferred preferences or your location," like it will say the city you're in and whatnot and the zip code. If you look, it says, "Do you want to be shown other things that aren't tailored to you?" That's an option on Google. If you do that, you'll see different things pop up automatically.
Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep.
And also with that, when you're searching up these things and you're done doing that, there is an icon. If you're doing this on your phone, there's an icon on DuckDuckGo where it's in the middle. It's a little flame. You click that, and then it asks you to close tabs and clear data. You click that, and it just wipes everything. So all your research, all your history, all that is gone. You don't ever have any extra lingering. And you can also go into it and check to see who tried to follow you. You know, so those are always fun things. I highly recommend them. You definitely use them. Hit that button, get it all cleared out every time you search, and you're done. And then it's like you were never there.
All right then.
So, Viking, thanks again for joining me on this this whirlwind we're doing. Luna, thank you for being the research genius that you are, giving us all the information. If you guys could see our private chat, there is a lot of Luna stuff in there, just letting us know.
She went off this time. She gave us a bunch of information.
Yeah, this was definitely a fun one, and hopefully the fans enjoyed it, and you guys see what we're creating here, because we got some subjects that are coming up. We got the Appalachian Mountains coming up, and all the paranormal shit there. So join us. Are we doing it next week, or are we going back onto the 2 week?
Oh, what is next week for me? I'm going to have to look here really quick. What next week is the 4th? I don't work next weekend, so I'm pretty sure.
Well, I think if we can, we should. And fans, we will keep you updated and let you know. If you see a drop, if you see us out there letting you know, jump in. And if not, join us. Okay, before we leave, we got an official title, Research Maiden. There we go.
That's what Luna wants to be known as.
That is what Luna will be known as. We need to get another background made so we can have Luna on, have her name up there, and she will be known as that. So I'm excited for it. Viking, thanks again for joining and being a part of it. You too, Luna, and we will catch everybody on the next one. Peace.